It started with a single photo that shouldn't even have existed. A dim, off-angle shot, taken through the half-closed blinds of a tiny late-night restaurant in Cheongdam. The kind of place no one expects idols to visit because it's too normal, too exposed. Someone posted it with no caption, just a question mark, and within minutes the comments froze under the same thought. The profile looked like V. Not confirmed, not clear, but the shape of the jaw, the way he sits with one shoulder slightly dropped, it was enough to start the whisper. But the real issue wasn't him. It was the girl at the small table next to his, or maybe at the same table. No one could agree. The angle made it impossible to tell how close they were, but too many insisted it looked like one table, not two. Others said the chairs were turned just a little too inward to be random. She wore a dark sweater, nothing identifiable, and her hair covered most of her face, which somehow made it worse because anonymity invites projection. The atmosphere in the photo was almost still. Soft lighting, no movement, no waiter in sight. Just two figures in a quiet room that shouldn't have been quiet at that hour. The first mistake came fast. A fan account reposted the image with a tentative, "Is this tonight?" and deleted it 10 seconds later, but not fast enough. Someone had already screenshotted it. That was the spark. Suddenly people were digging through restaurant tags, checking who else had been in the area, arguing over reflections in glass, trying to match shadows on the table to menu photos on Google. Some swore the girl's hand was resting too close to his. Others said you couldn't even see her hand at all, so why assume anything? But the tension wasn't in the details. It was in the inability to dismiss it. The restaurant was small, the kind of place where tables are close by design, where sitting next to someone can look like sitting with them, depending on where the picture's taken. One commenter pointed out the wine glass in front of him, even though he doesn't usually order wine in public. Another argued it wasn't even wine, just water catching the warm light. Threads contradicted each other faster than they formed. A few fans begged everyone to wait for clarity, but clarity never came. Only more screenshots, zoomed-in circles, arrows pointing at lighting, at posture, at the ambiguous distance between two silhouettes that seemed too calm, too settled for a random coincidence. And the worst part? No one could agree on what they were actually seeing, but everyone agreed it felt like something they weren't supposed to. The second wave didn't come from the photo itself, but from a 12-second clip someone claimed to have taken accidentally while filming the street outside the restaurant. The video barely showed anything, just the window, a corner of the awning, faint silhouettes inside. But at the 3-second mark, one of the figures shifted in a way that looked unmistakably like V's habit of brushing his thumb across his lower lip. Some fans said it wasn't him at all. Others insisted it was too specific to ignore. The girl's silhouette leaned forward for a moment, and that tiny movement sent the comment section spiraling. Was she speaking to him? To someone else? Or was it just the camera distortion? No one could prove any of it, but the clip spread faster than the photo, because the person who posted it panicked and deleted it instantly. An overreaction that only poured gasoline on the rumor. By then, fans were already comparing timestamps. The restaurant sign reflected a glowing 0047, which matched the street CCTV from someone's old fan cam of a different idol leaving the same place months ago. That connection created a bizarre theory thread insisting that the restaurant was known for private late dinners, despite zero evidence. Other fans argued that late dinner could mean anything. Maybe he was waiting for friends. Maybe he just stopped by. Maybe the girl wasn't with him at all. But those theories kept collapsing because the atmosphere in both the photo and the clip looked too composed, too slow, too synced. A user posted a grainy zoom showing the girl's chair angled slightly toward him, while another swore the chairs were separate because the table edge's shadow didn't line up. People began dragging old interviews, body language clips, and unrelated photos to compare posture, even though none of them matched the lighting or angle. Meanwhile, a larger fan account tried to shut down discussion by tweeting, "This is nothing. Stop spreading misinformation." But the tone was too defensive, too early, and the replies roasted them for trying to control the narrative. The more people tried to calm things, the more frantic the timeline became. One person claimed they saw V enter the area earlier with 2 staff members, but another user replied that she had been there the entire evening and saw no staff at all, only a tall figure in a cap who seemed alone. The contradictions stacked on top of each other until no version made sense, yet none could be dismissed. Someone pointed out that the girl's sweater sleeve looked familiar, maybe from a stylist's Instagram story weeks ago, though even that wasn't certain. Fans started making threads titled, "Please stop," and "This is going too far." But those only drew more attention because people wanted to know what exactly was going too far. It didn't matter whether it was him or her, or just a trick of light. What mattered was that no one could align the fragments into anything coherent, and the silence from every official channel made the uncertainty feel even heavier. By midday, the narrative cracked completely, not because of new evidence, but because too many people were now certain they'd seen something different from everyone else. One fan posted that she walked past the restaurant earlier that night and swore she saw V through the window, sitting alone with a bowl of soup, which immediately contradicted another user's claim that he'd been there with a group at the time. Both posts gained traction because neither sounded dramatic. They sounded annoyingly plausible in opposite ways. Then came the audio clip, just 4 seconds of muffled background noise recorded, by accident, in a taxi passing the street. Someone claimed they heard two voices, one distinctly male, laughing softly. Others insisted the clip was manipulated, because why would anyone film inside a car at that exact moment? Still, people tried isolating frequencies, boosting the sound, comparing it to V's laugh from live streams. Even though the clip was so distorted, it could have been anyone or nothing at all. A different user uploaded a screenshot of the restaurant's reservation system, allegedly showing a 2-person booking under a pseudonym. Fans believed V sometimes used, except the font looked off, and the website layout didn't match the real one, and within minutes the post was deleted with a nervous NVM ignore. But the damage was done. Suddenly everyone was dissecting whether idols use fake names for casual outings, whether it's normal, whether that means anything. The comments split into hostile camps, those begging people to stop speculating, and those demanding transparency from sources who had none. A rumor spread that the girl had been seen entering the restaurant alone earlier, but another thread insisted there was no evidence she'd ever walked in at all, suggesting she might have already been inside when he arrived. Someone pointed out a reflection in the photo, a faint, blurry rectangle that might have been a phone pointed at them from another table. That detail terrified the timeline because it implied there was another angle, another witness, another image that hadn't surfaced yet. Fans started messaging each other privately, trying to piece together timelines like detectives, only to realize every theory contradicted another just enough to collapse. A major fan account posted, "Guys, this is literally nothing," which backfired instantly because people accused them of hiding something, since they never comment this fast unless it's serious. The conversation shifted from, "Was he with her?" to, "Why is the entire fandom reacting like this?" As if everyone subconsciously recognized the moment wasn't big enough to explain the chaos, yet somehow too uncomfortable to let go. And underneath it all, the first photo, the blurry, quiet, almost intimate stillness of that tiny table, remained the center of gravity, even though no one could agree whether they were witnessing a coincidence or a fracture in what they thought they knew. By evening, the discussion had lost any sense of sequence. It wasn't a timeline anymore, just a swarm of half-memories and contradictory witness accounts piling on top of each other. Someone reposted a blurry shot from across the street, a frame taken minutes before the original photo, allegedly showing the girl standing outside the restaurant alone, scrolling through her phone. But the lighting didn't match, the awning looked different, and within minutes another fan pointed out that the street in the photo wasn't even the same district. That post vanished almost immediately, replaced by threads accusing people of fabricating evidence to shift the narrative. Then came the shoulder theory, where users compared the angle of V's shoulder in the still photo to older pictures to determine whether he was leaning toward the girl or just sitting normally. That devolved instantly into arguments about posture, camera distortion, and whether idols even lean in public. Meanwhile, a new image appeared, this time from someone claiming they passed by the restaurant around midnight. The picture didn't show V or the girl, just 2 empty chairs and a server clearing a table. But the caption, "This was after," sent fans spiraling, because no one could agree on what after meant. After they left? After someone else sat there? After nothing happened at all? The comments turned viciously defensive, accusing the poster of baiting attention, but others replied that the composition of the plates suggested a 2-person meal. Then the rumor hit that a staff member had privately messaged someone saying, "Don't trust anything circulating right now," which created even more confusion, because people couldn't decide whether that meant the rumors were fake or that something was being covered up. A larger fanbase tried posting a long thread urging everyone to step back, but halfway through the thread, someone noticed the account had previously posted restaurant recommendations in the same neighborhood, which somehow became evidence that they knew more than they admitted. People screenshotted likes, unlikes, deleted tweets, even the timing of when moderators went offline in certain Discord servers. Every silence felt suspicious. Every correction felt intentional. A few fans began insisting the girl wasn't a girl at all, but a male staffer with longer hair, while others said that explanation only made it worse, because then, why did it look so quiet? Each new theory hardened the discomfort, because nothing explained the stillness of that scene. The minimal movement, The lack of staff, the soft lighting, the sense that whatever was happening wasn't meant to be observed, yet somehow was. The conversation no longer circled the image. It circled the feeling the image created, the wrongness of it, the way it hovered between harmless and impossible to shrug off. And the more people tried to bury it under logic, the more obvious it became that logic wasn't the point anymore. The fandom wasn't debating facts. They were reacting to an absence of them. By nightfall, the rumor wasn't a rumor anymore. It was a landscape the fandom was trapped inside, shifting under their feet every time someone tried to plant a definitive thought. The spark came when a mid-sized account posted a simple line. There's another angle. No image, no proof, no details. Just that sentence. It was deleted within a minute, but too late. Screenshots multiplied instantly, and suddenly everyone was convinced a second photo existed somewhere, held by someone, waiting to drop. People began messaging each other privately, asking if anyone had seen it, if anyone knew who took it, if any mod from any group chat had hinted at it. No one had. Yet somehow everyone believed someone else had. A user claimed the restaurant staff looked nervous when asked whether V had been there, but another replied that they'd spoken to the same staff, and they said nothing happened. Except both comments contradicted each other so perfectly that neither felt believable anymore. A TikTok circulated showing a map of the restaurant's interior, with arrows pointing to where the girl might have been sitting, even though the layout didn't match any verified source. Someone insisted that the reflection on the wine glass in the first photo showed a third figure, while others argued it was just a lamp behind the counter. A few fans begged everyone to stop, but their tone sparked even more suspicion. Why stop now, when everything felt like it was building towards something? The weirdest shift came when users stopped asking who the girl was, and instead started asking why the atmosphere in the photo looked so still, so settled. Too settled for strangers, too quiet for a casual overlap, too composed for a coincidence. That's when a major fan account accidentally liked a tweet saying they were clearly sitting together, unliked it within seconds, then posted a defensive explanation, claiming it was a slip of the thumb. Screenshots of the like circulated instantly, and no apology could put the genie back in the bottle. People argued whether the like meant anything or meant nothing, whether it was proof or panic, whether that account knew more or simply reacted too fast. Every attempt to shut the discussion down only made it bigger, heavier, stickier. Threads contradicted each other. Discord mods muted entire channels. Fans insisted the fandom was embarrassing itself, only to be dragged for acting like PR. No official statements came from anywhere. No confirmation, no denial, no clarification. Just silence. A silence that felt less like calm and more like pressure. And when someone posted the final question, "Why is everyone acting like something happened when no one even knows what they saw?" The replies didn't soothe the chaos. They fractured it further. Because by then, it didn't matter what the truth was. The moment had already become collective. The speculation had become self-sustaining. And the image, the small table, the soft light, the too quiet posture of two figures sitting just a little too close, refused to fade, hanging over the fandom like a question no one could answer and no one could stop asking.